Today we're going to be looking at SEO in a nutshell. So the things we're going to be covering are SEO basics, so what, why, who, SEO, some stats for Google, some really interesting stuff from there, and I've got some actual, monetary figures as well. We're going to be looking at SEO tips. We're going to be looking at how to choose the right SEO company for your business, including the right questions to ask and looking at the responses that people should be giving you. Then we're going to do something a little bit different for today's seminar. We're going to do a little mini Q&A. So if some of you have got any questions that you would like to ask, feel free to quiz me later on. And then we're going to look a little bit about me and Angel SEO and what we can do. And then we're going to be looking at a final note as well. So SEO basics. What is search engine optimization? SEO is basically the process of increasing the amount of quality traffic to your website through the search engines. So if we look at a results page here, we've done a search for cars, and as you can see at the top here and down the side, there's sponsored adverts, so people have paid there. Now, an estimation of how much these are going to charge, you would probably looking at £10 just to kind of be there, or possibly there £9, which for a new business is not overly cost effective. So the advantage of SEO is we can get you ranked there and you're in a far better position. So who is SEO for? It's for any individual or business that's got a website and wants increased traffic, inquiries, and effectively more business. 75% of UK users do use Google, so obviously it's the perfect way to market your business. So why do I need SEO? For any website to get to the top of Google, it does need SEO. It's not just a magic, let's put my website up there and it will automatically hit there. That doesn't happen. That's a really big myth, and that's been going on now for a couple of years. And if you look at some of the companies that we've listed here, eBay, Microsoft, Walt Disney, Dell, Tesco, they all have SEO departments, or they recruit, or they get in SEO companies to help with their online presence. It's not just a case of, right, we've got a new product that we need to advertise. They have to do the work like any other business would do. So there we go. Why do I need SEO? Obviously, everybody needs it. All the big blue chips do, so everybody does need it. Moving on, SEO stats. Now, I spoke to an industry expert the other day. Some of you may or may not know a chap called Rand Fishkin. Basically, he runs a big SEO company in America. They used to do consulting, and they did all the consulting for the likes of Microsoft and Dell, some of the people that we looked at a minute ago. Now they've gone onto the tools. And we were talking, and he said, pay-per-click, last year the spend was over 18 billion, which is ridiculous, compared to only 1 billion that was spent on SEO. But the stats are 90% of Google users click on the organic, which are these here, compared to 10% which click on those. So return-wise and investment-wise, it's far, far more effective. The only thing is, at the moment with SEO, it's still classed as a vague science, and there are a lot of unethical companies out there that are using techniques that aren't recommended by the search engines. A great example would be, we took a client on a month ago, but 3 months prior to that, he'd been given a penalty by Google and was actually removed from the index. And then, when things like that happen, he just wanted to pack his business in because he lost all his inquiry, lost all his orders, he had no revenue, and effectively had no money to pay the bills. And this is the kind of thing that Angel is up against, all these unethical companies, and trying to educate people. So the next stat, only 8% of Google users click through to the second page. So as we can see here, obviously with the World Cup coming up shortly, once you've done a search and you get to the bottom, people will either select one of these or they'll redefine their search. So it's vital that you're on the first page of Google. The next one, 80% of your website traffic will come from Google. Now, we've pulled this off. This is from Angel SEO. This was just a couple of hours worth of stats that we pulled last week. And as you can see here, Google is by far the more dominant search engine. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, they probably don't rank very well in Bing, Yahoo, or Ask, but we actually do. We actually rank better in those search engines. It's just that Google is by far the best search engine to be listed in. Another perfect stat, another great example of why Google is so powerful: 75% of the UK population use Google over Yahoo and Bing. They can't keep up. Now, some of you have probably seen adverts on Channel 4 for Bing. It's not happening for them at the moment, and Google is just by far the dominant force. And the chap that I spoke to the other day, I said to him, could you ever see there being a Google beta in the next 5 years? He said no. And Google is by far the best search engine, and that's what we concentrate on as a business. In February 2010, Google received 4.6 billion search page views just in the UK. Just something else to reaffirm of how powerful they are. And in April 2010, Google held a 72% of the worldwide search engine market, compared to Yahoo at 14, Bing at 10, Ask at 2, and then the other search engines like AOL and AltaVista. So just proof in the pudding there that Google is the perfect search engine to be in and on the first page. So SEO tips. We're going to look at keyword strategies now. Now, one thing for me, we get a lot of clients saying, I want to rank for this particular keyword, and that's absolutely fine, but getting to that keyword could take 12 months. So for them, it's not going to be overly cost effective. We actually lost a client the other day because we were honest and said it's going to take 9 to 12 months to get you to that point. Have you considered going down this route? We feel we could do it in 3 months. He wanted that big keyword. That's okay. But, with investment and being honest with people, it just didn't work for him. Now, here's some examples. If we look at the keyword holidays, the amount of results that it brings back is 133 million, which is just astronomical. Getting to the first page of Google is going to take a while to get there. It's going to take an investment. Also, same with cars, 518 million results, which is just absolutely ridiculous. And then another one is mobile phones, 71 million. So if we look at certain keyword strategies that you should be thinking in-house, don't just go to an SEO company and say, I want this, because they'll just promise you the earth. They'll say, we can get you there in 3 months. You'll spend X, Y, and Z with them, and it just won't happen. You'll be left disgruntled, and, you probably won't use them. And there's a lot of cases where people are taking SEO companies to court because they've lied to them so bad. We'll look at that a bit further when it comes to choosing the right SEO company. But, it's not good for you as a business. It's not good for us as in the industry. So some keyword strategies would be, I've put some examples down here of monthly search volume and obviously global search volume. So if we look at travel holidays there, we've got that on there at 823,000 global searches, but that's only got 19 million results compared to 133 million results. That's going to be a quicker win. You'll be able to get there. We'll be able to get you ranked quicker there, whether it be Angel SEO or another company. It's a better win. And then if we look at cheap holidays, that's got just over 2 million 2 million searches per month, and yet the competition is only 13 million. So you can start to see there the different things you can do with keywords. Just don't go for the big, broad terms, because they will take a while. So you need to start thinking about the different strategies that you can do, the different ideas that you can do. Maybe with your business, go for the kind of the Rolls-Royce approach and go really specific. There will be people that are searching them and want to buy your product straight away. So that's certainly something to consider. The next thing is your website content. Now, I spoke to a lot of people, and they're quite open with me and honest, and they do say, we've just basically copied and pasted the content from our competitor's website to get above them. Now, if you do that, Google can see the original content, see which one first created that copy, and what it will do, it will actually push the website that's copied and pasted the content down or basically out of its index. You've got to think, why would you want 10 listings on the first page of Google with all the same content? It's not productive. It's not going to work. So the content that you have on your website, whether you write it in-house or you get a copywriter to do it, needs to be completely unique and fresh. It needs to include your benefits and your features, and obviously it needs to be copy that It's focused for the search engines, but it's also got to focus on your users. It's got to, obviously it's got to convert well. The next thing is link building. Now, this is something, obviously, well, it's a very important part with SEO. It's not just the be-all and end-all, but a lot of clients do say to me, is there anything I can do in-house to help? And of course there is. So there's lots of different websites that you can get your business listed on. So if we go from the top over there, we've got Tumblr, which is a blog platform, Squidoo, which is a blog platform, Twitter, which probably most of you have heard about, Facebook, we've got StumbleUpon, we've got Blogger, WordPress, we've got Dig, we've got forums, we've got YouTube, and then we've got industry-specific sites, we've got local business sites. If you can get listed on every single one of those, it will give you that boost that you need. And you can do this in-house. It will take you 5 minutes per site to do. But then the big thing, and this is something that Google really likes at the moment, is if you create networks between these sites. So you link from Tumblr, which is the top left over there, you link that through to your YouTube, which then links through to a local business directory that then links back to you. So effectively you're creating networks just for your main site. This is such a powerful technique at the moment, and Google is a really big lover of this. You're basically taking Google on a journey through multiple websites to the end goal, which is obviously your own. The next one, sitemaps. Now, I constantly see websites without sitemaps. So Google comes to your site, they crawl through all your content, and then no doubt, on some occasions, they'll hit an image or a certain bit of code with your website, and they can't figure it out. They can't get past it. And if there's more content behind, where they've got stuck or more links to different parts of your website, they won't find it. Now, what I always advise is that you put a link to your sitemaps at the top of the page. You can hide it very well, even if it just links through to your main website sitemap, and then that has all your XML sitemaps on there, HTML sitemaps. It can certainly help. I've seen on numerous occasions a website that had 100 pages, and when we really looked deep into it, the website actually had 500 pages, but because there were so many coding problems, Google couldn't find the other 400. So effectively, they lost out on other keywords and different areas within the search engines. So sitemaps are also very important. So how to choose the right search engine optimization company. Okay, the big thing at the moment for me is people aren't being educated. People are going to SEO companies and they're saying, right, I want to rank for this, this, and this, or the SEO company is making recommendations and this, and the SEO company is saying, yeah, we can do this in 2 months, and 2 months down the line, it doesn't happen. And obviously for yourselves as business owners, you're left disgruntled, upset, and probably, a little bit, knocked with the SEO industry. Now, the big thing for us is I would rather, or, the team at Angel invest 50 hours talking to you before we even got to the point of, trying to sell you the product. We want you to feel comfortable in what SEO is about. We just want you to understand. So if you go to another company or whether you come to us, feel free to quiz us with these questions. So can I see examples of your work? Now, most of you are probably thinking, well, yeah, they'll have a designated section on their website. That's fine. Have a look at what they've done in the past. But you want to see what they're doing now. You want to see kind of the little bits and pieces, what they're doing for clients, whether it be the social media side. You need to know that they're up to date with their work. As you know, it's very easy just to take a logo off the internet and put it on a website. People can claim they're working with X, Y, and Z. See the little bits that they've not published yet or broadcast yet. Obviously, Angel SEO does speak to all its clients first and say, look, do you mind just showing new clients what we're doing? And they're all happy with that. But that's something that you need to be asking them. The next one, are you willing to educate me about search engine optimization? Now, I got an email about a week and a half ago, and it basically said, I'm looking for some quotes. I'm really disgruntled with the SEO industry because it doesn't seem very professional. I'm sick of getting emails with a paragraph and a price. For me, this is what's happening in the SEO industry at the moment, and this is why people are getting their hands burnt. And for Angel, 98% of our calls are disgruntled customers. They've been with somebody else, they've had a penalty from Google, and it's just really not working for them. So ask them, see what they say. If they're not willing to sit down with you, to be honest, I'd walk away. I seriously walk away. Ask them what their industry experience is, not just how long the company's been going. Now, a lot of the time, well, a great example would be Angel. We only set up January this year, but myself, I've been in the industry for 8 years, in the SEO industry. I've helped websites transform from turning over 500,000 to 3.5 million in 2 years just with SEO. So don't just take the SEO company as it sees. Find out about the staff behind. The next one is, what do you consider to be the most important SEO factors? Now, every company in the land, I could guarantee this, will say link building and content or social media. But if this is the only 3 things that they're focusing on, just be a little bit wary. We look at roughly 100 points, on-page points that need to be tweaked for SEO to get you the best results. And if they're only concentrating on 3, you're not going to get the results that you're looking for and deserve. When should I start to see improvements in my rankings? This depends on the keyword. If you're going for something niche, if you're clever with your keyword strategies, then you could probably expect to see results in 2 to 3 weeks. I'm not saying position number 1 in Google, but I'm saying definite improvements being pushed up. An example, we did something very strategic with one of our clients, and we targeted basically every city in the UK, and that we got them onto the first page of Google in 4 weeks, and in that 4-week period they sold out of stock because we'd done something clever with their keywords. They were small niche terms, but they were searched and they had the best ROI. And finally, did you know companies can't guarantee number 1 position on Google? There's still a lot of companies out there that claim that they can. If they're claiming that they can, it's probably going to be things like monkeys in pink jumpsuits. Anybody could probably get that tomorrow. But it's not going to bring you any sales or orders or business, So if a company's guaranteeing it, honestly, jump in your car and do a runner. So now then, bit different for a seminar. I want to throw it over to you and ask you if you've got any questions for me now. I've got no prep. I've got nothing on me. If you're thinking of a question, I could guarantee somebody else in the room or somebody out there has probably thought about it. So if you've got a question, feel free to raise your hand.
Just wondering about with hosting, whether it's hosting in the US or the UK, how it affects rankings in Google.
Great question. If you're targeting the UK market, it's best to be hosted in the UK. Google can identify from the IP address that you're hosted with that whether it's in an American server or whether it's a UK server. We've looked at this in the past, and we had a website on an American server. We moved it over to the UK, and literally in the space of a week, once Google had found that it was on a UK server, we got pushed up 30 positions. So there is far advantages. If you're targeting the UK, get hosted in the UK. Any more questions?
Is there an association that covers the ethical suppliers that would recommend approved suppliers or quality people in this arena?
There isn't. So the question there is there kind of like a watchdog for the SEO industry? There actually isn't. Now, there's a lot of websites out there that claim we list all the best SEO companies throughout the world, but what they're actually doing is they're paying, or they're asking people to pay to be listed as that number 1 company. If I was going to advise you on a place to go, it would be SEO Moz, SEOmoz.org. They're a big American company, SEO company. They're absolutely fantastic as a brand. I've met their business owner. They've got a lot of web design companies on there, graphic design companies, not just SEO. They vet them quite well, and that would be the best place to go if you're looking to find this kind of company. Any more questions?
I've got a page 1 ranking on Google UK, but nothing on .com America. So how can I improve that?
Your domain name, is it a .co.uk? It's a .org. Okay. What you can do in Google Webmaster Tools is actually define which country you want to target. Okay. So it could possibly be that you're targeting just the UK market. You may want to change it in Webmaster Tools to United States, and then that should give you a boost in Google.com. You've got to bear in mind, though, that there's going to be more results in .com because it's Google's global brand. So my recommendation to you would be target the UK market, target the French market, target the Spanish market, obviously I don't know what products you sell or what you do, but don't just focus on google.com. Look at all these, the smaller ones, all the little hubs that Google have got. Any more questions? I'll go to this gentleman at the back.
Hello there. Could you talk a little bit about the change of meta tagging from insider site to Google ranking?
Yeah, sure. There was a survey done last year based on the top SEO factors that work, and the top one was the meta title tag, and actually that was voted the best aspect of SEO at the moment. Now, keywords, Google have actually confirmed a couple of months ago, they're redundant. So the keyword meta tag is actually redundant. And then also the description tag. Get your keywords in there, do not stuff it, but you've got to make it attractive. You've got to make it so it can convert. Obviously, that's what Google uses as a little snippet for their search engines. So it's just as important. So great question. Have we got any more? I'm knackered.
I'm not sure not make my question, but what do you mean by search? How can I be addressed with the search? Let's say the advantage of Google, how it influences the search results.
What do you mean with regards to searching for a keyword? Okay.
If with the same keyword,
Yeah.
in Manchester, last Google is bring the browser for
Yes. Right. Okay, I'm with you. Okay, so I think I'm with you now on this question. Basically, the young woman asked, does it make a difference if I did a search for, let's say, hotels or hotels in London? Is that what you mean? Is that what you're getting at? Oh, so if I'm in Scotland and someone's in London, will it affect? Is that what you're getting at? There will be a slight difference. Now, Google has 2 data centers that it runs off. I think there's one down in London, Kent Way, and there's one in Dublin. Now, the one in Dublin is always the most up-to-date. Now, we've got a client in Birmingham, and sometimes when we do a quick search for keywords and he does a quick search, they're slightly different, but normally the one in Kent will catch up a day later. So I wouldn't worry too much if you're seeing different results. Hopefully that answers your question. Any more questions?
How can we find out the download speed of template websites?
Right, okay. If you do a quick search, so the question was, how can you find out the speed of a website effectively? Downloaded templates. If you do a quick search on Google and do website speed test, a website will come up and it will ask you to enter the domain name, a quick security code, and it will bring you all the different aspects, but that's the best way to find out. It's a fantastic website out there. Any more questions? We will have to speed these up a little bit, sorry. Yes, sir.
In the past, Google didn't like the likes of YouTube and video on their sites. What's your view on it now? Obviously, it's a sort of secret what Google really like nowadays. Is it like videos on sites, as opposed to the past they didn't like them, but since they've bought over YouTube, they seem to like them.
So the question that the gentleman asked was, are videos on websites useful? From an SEO perspective, there's a lot you can do. So on our website, we've got videos, but what we've done, we've used Vimeo to upload them, and then we use them on our website using their hosting platform. But if videos are going to work for you as an actual product to sell your product or to sell your brand, get them listed across the entire board. And then with the linking patterns that we looked at, start linking between, you can embed videos from YouTube on your site. We mentioned something about Flash. Flash still, even though, there's been blogs out there saying, Flash websites still can rank, very well, is still not true. Google still cannot get their head around, the Flash technology. Adobe and Apple have had a bit of a fallout recently, and it looks like Flash isn't going to be supported on Apple anymore. So I don't know what that's going to bring for Flash websites in general, but a Flash website, even though they look fantastic, admittedly, will 9 times out of 10 never get ranked very well. So I'm going to have to do one more question, and then I'm going to have to wrap it up. So any more questions?
You mentioned that 90% of people don't click on sponsored links. All the AdWords were being offered around the different stores. Does that give you an advertised post, or does that move you further up the rankings of the normal list? Yeah, basically. Yeah, what's the difference?
What's the difference between paid adverts and organic? Is that...
What can you use the AdWords for? Will they boost you organically, or they're purely for the advertising purpose?
Right, okay.
Okay, could I add to that question?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Okay. How would the AdWords actually boost organic search as well? AdWords. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, to answer those two questions then, AdWords, as we saw some stats there, only 10% of Google users click on them. I think from my perspective, for short-term wins, AdWords is a fantastic opportunity, but it can be a costly opportunity. And with regards to what you said, with regards to local results, if somebody does a search for hotels in Nottingham, you can target your adverts in AdWords to appear for terms like that. So you can do local local results as well in AdWords. Okay. Thank you for those questions. Obviously, it put me on the spot a bit, so that's good. So a little bit about Angel. I'm not going to bore you. If you want to come and chat with us, you can find us at 603. So a big thing about us, our USP is we don't do fixed-term contracts. You're probably wondering why. Well, a lot of SEO companies want to tie you down for 12 months. We don't believe we have to, just because of the quality of our work. We don't ask for a deposit to pay at the beginning. What a lot of SEO companies were doing is they get you ranked well, but they were doing this using black hat or naughty techniques to get you there. And then what had happened is you get a penalty, or you get thrown out of Google or whatever, and then they're actually turning around to you and saying, okay, we'll do the work for free, but what they're actually doing is living off the deposit. So, it's a simple reason why we don't have to ask for a deposit, because all our techniques are ethical. The next point, our values are honesty, transparency, and no compromises. As you've probably guessed today, to do an open Q&A, and somebody could have asked me something really tricky and put me on the spot. We want to educate people about SEO. It's not just about the hard sell. Our services are designed for any business type and industry sector, and we can work with any budget from £100 to £100,000 per year. As you can see there, it's just a few testimonials from our recent clients. And then what I'd like to do is leave you with one point. Stop advertising and start optimizing. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Raphael.